Followed by fate. After 6 months, a millionaire widower discovered his nanny's amazing secret. Tom Bennett stood in the kitchen of his sprawling suburban Chicago home, staring blankly at the untouched breakfast spread. A year ago, this space buzzed with laughter. His wife, Sarah, would tease him about his culinary failures while their 2 children, Emma and Jack, raced around the table. Now, silence hung heavy in the air, stitching doubt and sorrow into the fabric of his days. 6 months after Sarah's unexpected death, all he felt was the sting of absence and the relentless weight of fatherhood crashing down. Surrounded by gadgets and screens, Tom dove deeper into his tech startup, as if burying himself in work could fill the void. But every success felt hollow, each click of the keyboard echoing his children's fading giggles. His heart ached. They craved his warmth, his embrace, but his focus was the startup that had always been his escape. He dreaded the thought that his children saw him as a ghost, present but so far away. Then Maria walked into their lives. Their new nanny was a single mother from a quiet town, brimming with a fierce resolve that contrasted sharply with Tom's growing isolation. Each morning, he watched her nurture Emma and Jack, her laughter spilling into the corners of his home, enveloping them in a warmth he had long forgotten. As she baked cookies and crafted endless games, the children's faces lit up, lighting a fire inside Tom that he couldn't quite understand. Jealousy wrestled with gratitude. How could this woman from humble beginnings offer a spark he should have been providing? Maria's own struggles hovered on the edge of their idyllic world. Financial strain pulled at her like a tightening noose, but every sacrifice felt worth it when she smiled down at the children. Still, when the neighbors whispered about Tom's wealth, and Maria's socioeconomic struggles intertwined with their realities, he felt a rift grow. He silently judged her inability to blend into his high-flying world, especially after that charity gala when she stood awkwardly, out of place among the diamonds and silk. Had she ever really understood his life? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The tension reached an unbearable level when Jack casually remarked, "Maria listens better than you, Dad." It struck Tom like a thunderclap, ripping his heart open, exposing the jagged edges of his insecurities. Was he really losing his children to a woman whose life he barely knew? As the community faced a looming school closure, neighbors began to rally. It was in this crisis that Tom saw a different side of Maria. She organized meetings, spoke passionately, and mobilized their neighbors with a zeal he never expected. Through her actions, she reminded him of the importance of community and what it meant to show up for one another. But it was more than just unity. Maria was an artist at heart. As news of her murals spread, she began painting vivid designs across town, igniting joy and connection amongst families. Each stroke revealed a part of her that Tom never knew existed. He watched from afar as colors erupted, dreams taking flight through artwork that spoke louder than words. Standing on the precipice of realization, Tom grappled with the reality of his emotions. Was he ready to let go of his biases? Could he really lean into this change? Just as hope began to bubble deep within him, the door swung open, revealing a twist that could alter everything. What secrets lay beneath the surface of Maria's kindness, and how would they shift the dynamics of their story? As the door creaked, Tom's heart raced. The unexpected visitor stood there, framed by the morning light. Maria's mother. She stepped inside, her warm smile tinged with uncertainty. "I hope I'm not intruding," she said, glancing around the kitchen as if searching for ghosts of laughter that had once filled the air. Tom felt a surge of confusion. He had never met her mother, but the familiarity in Maria's eyes was undeniable. This woman, with her soft features and gentle spirit, embodied the very essence of Maria's kindness. Yet Tom's gut twisted with apprehension. What did she want? Maria joined them moments later, her face brightening when she saw her mother but then shadowing with concern as she caught Tom's wary gaze. "Mom, I didn't expect you today," she exclaimed, her voice laced with surprise and a hint of worry. "Just came to see how you and the children are doing," her mother responded, her eyes darting to Tom, trying to read the atmosphere thickening with unspoken words. "Things have been a bit rough for us lately." Tom shifted uncomfortably, feeling like an outsider in a conversation that revealed so much more beneath the surface. He had only seen snippets of Maria's life. How could he truly understand her struggles when his own house felt like a fortress? "Mom, we can talk about this later," Maria said softly, yet he heard the tinge of urgency in her voice, the way it cut through the heaviness of the moment. "The kids are out in the yard." But that didn't distract Tom. He watched as Maria's stomach tightened and her mother's eyes fell, revealing the burden of hardship some families bore silently. What had her mother meant by rough? For a second, guilt swept over him. Was he the reason for Maria's hidden worries? His wealth stood in stark contrast to their realities, a gilded cage for him, a prison made of hope for her. "Do they still love painting?" Maria's mother asked, her gaze shifting to Tom, who was battling his own internal storm. "Maria told me they really enjoyed helping her with the murals. It made them so alive." His chest tightened, and he remembered Jack chatting away about the bright colors they used in the last mural. Something felt raw and vulnerable in that moment. Perhaps he was limiting the children's lives, denying them the richness of experiences beyond his tech-centric realm. Despite his swirling thoughts, Tom managed a smile. "Yeah, they've been loving it, but I should be more present." The admission tasted bitter, revealing a truth he struggled to confront. Maria's mother nodded, her understanding gaze softened as if acknowledging the weight of change he was facing. Just then, little Emma burst through the door, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "Can we paint today?" she asked, her voice bubbling with joy. "I have an idea for a rainbow wall." Tom glanced at Maria, who brightened at Emma's enthusiasm. Maybe this was the bridge he needed, a way to connect, to share in their world of colors and laughter. "Absolutely," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. "Let us make it a family project." As they all leaned into this plan, Tom felt a flicker of hope ignite within, a surge of unity that he desperately craved. But just as they began to talk about colors and brushes, Maria's mother stepped outside, and Tom caught a glimpse of her sigh. The weight of the unspoken hovered like a cloud above them. As Maria followed her mother, Tom lingered in the kitchen, wrestling with his feelings. He wanted to reach out, to understand the depths of Maria's life and the shadows she carried. What if her past tangled more tightly with his present than he ever imagined? The door swung open once more and Maria returned, her eyes bright with determination mixed with something else, fear. "Tom," she began, her voice a whisper, "there's something I need to tell you about my family." A chill ran down his spine. What truth would unravel next? Would it change everything he thought he knew? As he stood, frozen in anticipation, he realized that sometimes, standing at the edge of life meant taking a leap into the unknown. Maria took a deep breath, her fingers twisting nervously around the hem of her shirt. The door had barely closed behind her mother, but Tom felt an intense energy filling the small kitchen. It was as if the air thickened with unspoken words, each second stretching out like an eternity. "Tom, please, I want to be honest with you," she said, her eyes searching his with an urgency that made his heart pound. "It's about my family. Things, they're more complicated than you know." Complicated. The word echoed in his mind, wrapping around the knot in his stomach. He took a step closer, encouraging her to continue. "I'm listening." Maria glanced away, her gaze dropping to the floor. "My mom didn't just come to see us today because she missed us. She's worried about everything." She hesitated. "We've been struggling, Tom. My dad lost his job last month, and it's been hard." The weight of her revelation settled heavily in the room. Tom felt a rush of sympathy swell within him. "I had no idea," he said softly, his voice steadying, though he struggled to reconcile her reality with the life he led. "How can I help?" She looked up, a mixture of hope and fear in her eyes. "It's more than just money. My parents are fighting a lot, and it's affecting my younger siblings. They're scared." Hearing the fragility in her voice made Tom ache. He wanted to hold her close and promise that everything would be okay, yet words felt hollow. He couldn't change their circumstances with just a few comforting thoughts, but he could be there for her. "Maria," he said slowly, "I want to support you. You and your family. Whatever you need, I'll do my best." He felt a determination deeper than before, a commitment to step outside the boundaries of his own life and into hers. Tears glistened in her eyes, reflecting the struggle she carried within. "You don't understand, Tom. This isn't something you can fix with money. It's our life, our family dynamic." Tom nodded, recognizing the truth in her words. "I want to understand," he pressed, his heart aching with a desire to connect more deeply. "How can I be part of your world?" Maria pondered for a moment, her expression shifting from fear to something softer, more vulnerable. "Just be there, Tom. For me, for them. The kids, they need stability, and I need to know you're in this with me." The gravity of her request grounded Tom. It wasn't just about throwing money or helping with tasks, it was about understanding and sharing their burdens. "I can do that," he promised, his conviction growing. "We can paint that rainbow wall together. We can create something beautiful for your family to hold on to." Her smile returned, a flicker of light breaking through the clouds of uncertainty. "Yes. The kids will love that." But just as Maria's excitement blossomed, her phone buzzed on the counter, shattering the moment. She hesitated, glancing at the screen before her expression turned somber. "It's my mom, I should answer." Tom felt a pang of regret as she darted to the door, her voice trailing off as she stepped outside. Left alone in the kitchen, he sat at the table, gazing blankly at the remnants of their unfinished breakfast. Each click of his mind pointed out the disconnect between his life of abundance and the struggle of Maria's family, the stark realities that pulling apart the heavy curtains of his perception might be necessary. He had never been so aware of the paths diverging before him. As he sat there, contemplating the gravity of what lay ahead, he knew this was just the beginning. He could feel the tapestry of their lives intertwining, rich with shared colors and dark threads of hardship. And in that moment of clarity, he realized something profound. Building a bridge between their worlds was going to require more than just creativity. It would call for the willingness to face the truths that lay beneath. Maria re-entered, her expression serious. "Tom, I need you to meet my dad." Tom's heart raced. What would that encounter reveal? And could he handle whatever truth awaited him on the other side? Tom's breath caught in his throat as he tried to process Maria's words. "Your dad?" he repeated, unsure if he wanted to know the man who had contributed to this family's struggles. "You think he'll even want to meet me?" Maria bit her lip, the worry etched across her face. "He doesn't always react well to new people, especially right now. But I think he needs to see that I have someone in my corner. Someone supportive. What if he doesn't like me?" Tom's voice was barely above a whisper, the uncertainty creeping in. Maria stepped closer, placing a hand on his arm. "This isn't about you or me anymore. It's about them. They need to see I'm not alone in this." He swallowed hard, reluctantly nodding. "All right. I'll meet him." The resolve in his voice felt weak, yet it sparked a fire of determination within him. Maria smiled softly, the corners of her lips lifting just enough to break the tension. "Thank you, Tom. I really appreciate this. I know it's a lot to ask. Just tell me when and where," he said, easing into the commitment. "I'll be there." With a quick squeeze of his arm, she turned away. "Let's do it this weekend, okay? It'll give me time to prepare everyone." Tom nodded again, the weight of the upcoming meeting pressing down on him. He spent the rest of the day lost in a swirl of thoughts of Maria's family, of her father, and the life she had quietly opened up to him. He tried to imagine the man who could create such tension at home. Was he angry? Frustrated? Sad? What if their meeting only complicated things further? As evening approached, Tom found himself on his porch, staring at the sunset. The sky blazed with colors, a reminder that even the darkest storms pass to reveal something breathtaking, something hopeful. Maybe this meeting would bring clarity. A spark of hope argued with his worries, pushing him to stay positive. Maria called later that night, and he felt a warmth in his chest as he recognized her voice. They chatted about inconsequential things, easing the tension before the inevitable conversation about her father. And in those moments, it felt more like a partnership, a united front in the face of uncertainty. "Tom," she said quietly, her tone shifting as if she was bracing herself. "I should tell you something about my dad." "What is it?" Tom asked, already sensing the weight of her hesitation. He's been struggling with more than just losing his job. He's kind of spiraled after that. It's harder for him to see what he has to lose, you know." Tom's heart sank further. He imagined a man lost in his own demons, grappling with the fading essence of pride while feeling inadequate in front of his family. "So, there's more to this than just meeting him." "Much more. I just want you to be ready. He might react badly at first. It's hard for him to trust." A knot formed in Tom's stomach. He wasn't just stepping into a family crisis, he was stepping into a fire. But he wouldn't back down. "I'll do what I can. Just promise me I won't be alone in this." "I promise," Maria said, her voice strong again. After they hung up, he stood in the quiet of his porch, feelings swarming within him. The anticipation, the fear, and a sense of purpose blended together. He understood now that this was about more than just Maria or her father, it was about the fragile threads of family, the ties that bound them, the ties that threatened to fracture. And as night fell, Tom made a silent vow to show up not just for Maria but for all of them. Their struggles would become his, and the complexities of family, no matter how daunting, were a challenge he was ready to embrace. But deep down, a lingering thought nagged at him: was he truly prepared for the depths of their reality? The weekend loomed closer, and with it, the undeniable question hanging in the air: what would his meeting with Maria's dad reveal? The dawn of Saturday arrived with a weighty silence. Tom awoke to the soft chirping of birds outside his window but hardly heard them. His mind was already racing with the implications of the day ahead, the meeting that could change everything for Maria and her family. He dressed slowly, his heart beating a nervous rhythm in his chest. Each piece of clothing felt like armor, layers against the vulnerability he was about to face. He thought of Maria and her family, the challenges they navigated every day, and his role in this unfolding drama. Did they really need him? Did he even know how to help? Tom arrived at Maria's house earlier than planned, needing the time to gather his thoughts. The front porch was quiet, the same porch where he had spent countless evenings contemplating their situation. He stared at the chipped paint, feeling oddly comforted by the familiarity. Moments later, Maria emerged, her face painted with determination mixed with apprehension. "You're early," she said with a shaky smile, trying to mask her own anxiety. "I wanted to be here, ready," he replied. Her eyes softened. "Thank you, Tom. It means a lot." As they stepped inside, the warmth of the home enveloped Tom. The living room was filled with family photos: Maria as a child, her father grinning wider than he thought possible, and a younger version of her mother who looked vibrant and full of life. He wondered how much joy still lingered in these walls now, amidst the shadows that had settled over them. Maria's father, Bill, was seated at the kitchen table, stooped and lost in thought. The sight tugged at Tom's heart. The man was not just a father but a source of a family's history and legacy, now struggling. Bill looked up, and for a split second, there was recognition, but it quickly morphed into wariness. "Hey, Dad." "This is Tom," Maria said, her voice steady but filled with an undercurrent of hope. Tom stepped forward, forcing a smile to take root. "It's nice to meet you, sir." "Yeah," Bill muttered, his eyes scanning Tom as if weighing him against some unspoken standard. The silence stretched, thick and uncomfortable. "Dad, I know things have been tough," Maria said, her voice thick with emotion. "But I need you to see that I'm not alone in this. Tom is here for me, and I want you to meet him." Bill's expression tightened. "What does that mean for you?" His voice was rough, laced with suspicion. "Dad, I'm not here to replace anyone. I just want to support Maria, and I hope you can see that," Tom interjected, fighting against the tide of uncertainty that loomed. "I don't need some guy coming in to fix things," Bill snapped. Tom's heart sank, but he reminded himself of why he was there. "I'm not here to fix anything. I just want to help. Just like Maria needs you." The air in the room stilled. It felt like time halted in that moment, leaving everything suspended. Maria's eyes flickered back and forth between her father and Tom, dread and hope swirling within her. "For once, why can't you just be happy she has someone?" Maria finally cried, the vulnerability in her voice cracking like glass. The emotion hung in the air, a fragile filament that might snap at any moment. Tom held his breath, waiting for Bill's reaction. Would he lash out more? Would he accept the reality of his daughter wanting to be seen? Bill's face softened, just slightly. "I'm just trying to protect you, Maria. I know, Dad, but you're scaring me," she admitted, her voice a whisper, laden with fear. The room filled with tension as Tom thought about how quickly family dynamics could shift, how fragile the moment could be. Somewhere in that stillness, he heard the echo of his own insecurities but steeled himself against them. As the meeting wore on, Tom felt the walls around him begin to crack, the pressure thawing just a little. Was this the turning point they needed, or just the calm before another storm? But as he glanced at Maria, he could see the flickering light of hope in her eyes. It gave him strength. But all the same, the question lingered still, nearly bouncing off the walls: could they really overcome the shadows of resentment and doubt that surrounded them? As that thought settled in, a strange silence descended, a silence brimming with possibilities and fears. Tom found himself wondering what else lay beneath the surface, and what secrets might still linger within the family. He was ready to find out, but did that mean he was prepared for whatever that truth might be? The room felt thick with unspoken words, the weight of the moment pressing against Tom like a physical force. Maria's plea had broken through something in Bill, but he was still a man navigating the storm clouds of his emotions. Tom took a breath, the air caught somewhere between hope and despair. "Look," Bill finally said, his voice lower, almost hesitant. "I want what's best for Maria. It's been a long time since I felt like I had any control over my life or hers." Tom nodded, understanding the fear behind those words. He could see the vulnerability creeping into Bill's demeanor. "I can't imagine what you're going through," he said gently. "But you're still her father. You have more power in her life than you think." Maria's eyes shone as she watched the interaction. Perhaps it was a tiny step, but it sparked something in the room. For the first time, Bill didn't look quite so insurmountable. "Let's just take a breath," Maria suggested, a tremor in her voice but courage in her heart. "We're all here because we care. Maybe we can talk about how to move forward." Tom could feel the energy shift, as if a thread had been woven between them, fragile but hopeful. "What do you need?" he asked Bill, his voice steady, inviting. Bill shifted in his seat, looking at his daughter. He hesitated. "I miss when things were simpler." Maria took a step closer. "Dad, me too. But I'm not a child anymore. I'm trying to build a life and I can't do that if there's so much tension between us." The silence that followed felt heavy, but it was a different weight now, a weight of possibility. Tom held his breath, hoping this vulnerability would lead to understanding. "Fine," Bill said, glancing at Tom, "but what do you want from this? What are you hoping to achieve?" Tom felt like he was standing on the edge of a cliff, ready to jump. I want to support Maria. I want her to flourish. And maybe, if you let me, to help mend things between you. This isn't just about her anymore. Maria's expression softened, a mixture of gratitude and hope. Bill frowned slightly, still unsure. You think you can just come in and fix everything? No, Tom replied. I can't fix anyone. But I can stand beside her. If we can work together, we might be able to help each other. Tom dared a glance at Maria, and he saw that little spark return to her eyes. Dad, she urged, please think about what this means for us. We've been struggling, and if you're willing to be part of this, it could mean a lot. The moments dragged by, the tension the only sound in the room, wrapping around them like an old blanket. There was a flicker in Bill's gaze, a hesitation, then something else bubbling beneath the surface. A small sigh escaped him. I'll try, but it won't be easy, he admitted, the words coming slowly, like they were carved from stone. That's all I ask, Tom said quietly. Maria's smile broke like dawn. It was a small victory, but a victory nonetheless. Tom felt a surge of hope buoy him, the atmosphere shifting as something tentative and new was born. Okay, let's just take things one step at a time, Maria whispered, taking a seat beside her father. But even as they began to break the ice, Tom felt a shadow of uncertainty loom over him. Something still lingered in the depths of the family dynamic, an uncharted territory he could barely fathom. What secrets were hidden beneath the surface? As they began to talk more openly, a fear prickled at the back of Tom's mind. Would they truly be able to mend these rifts? Or would his presence soon reveal cracks that could never be healed? The tension stirred again, and as the conversation deepened, Tom braced himself. What might they uncover together, and would it bring them closer or tear them apart even more? The answers waited just out of reach, hidden within the echoes of their shared past. Bill stared at Maria, his face a portrait of uncertainty, as if he were staring into a murky water, searching for something he thought had long since disappeared. What did you want to talk about? He asked, breaking the ice of silence, but his voice hinted he wasn't ready for whatever truth lay ahead. Maria hesitated, her heart racing. I think we need to address what happened before. Tom could feel the air thicken again. It was the kind of air that precedes a storm, and he glanced from Maria to Bill, observing the tension gathering in the space between them. It was a fragile moment of balance on the edge of healing or upheaval. Before what? Bill asked, his brows knitting together. You mean before everything fell apart? Maria nodded. Yes. We can't just ignore the past. We need to confront it, the good and the bad. Only then can we figure out a way to move forward. Tom sensed the weight of her words. This was where true vulnerability lay, not just sharing feelings but digging up old wounds. He leaned in slightly, concerned but supportive, as Maria took a deep breath. You got angry when I decided to move out, she said, her voice wobbling. But you neglected to see how trapped I felt. I needed to break free to find myself. Bill's jaw tightened. You think you had it tough? There was a bite in his voice, a defensive shield rising. I lost everything, Maria. Everything I worked for. Dad, I know. She cried, frustration bubbling. But it felt like I was losing you, too. I needed you to see me. Not just as your little girl but as an adult, someone who can make her own choices. Tom's pulse quickened. The raw honesty was intense, exposing the emotional fractures beyond the surface. Bill's expression softened for a moment, flickering like a candle in the dark, but then it dimmed again under the weight of his own grief. Sometimes I don't know how to be both your father and something else to you, Bill admitted, pinching the bridge of his nose. He wanted to show strength but felt himself crumbling. I'm just lost. A silence fell, thick as molasses, and Tom felt the urge to intervene, to load some encouragement into the tense atmosphere. It's never easy, Bill, he said, his words wrapping around them gently. Letting go of the past takes time. You're not alone in this. Maria turned to Tom, her eyes bright with an intensity that made him feel seen too. It's okay for us to be vulnerable. It's okay to feel lost. But we have to meet each other halfway if we want that connection back. Tom nodded, trying to absorb the emotions swirling like autumn leaves around them. Bill seemed to wrestle with something deep inside, a softening but also a heavy weight. I should have seen you, he said via a whisper, but I was so caught up in my own mess that I failed you. Maria looked at him, a shadow of surprise crossing her face, then it happened. She stepped forward, enveloping him in her arms. Bill stiffened at first but then wrapped his arms around her, the embrace igniting a kind of warmth that had long been cold between them. Tom's heart raced as he witnessed the breakthrough. There was something transformative in the air now, a chance to heal, an opportunity to lay bare their wounds for the sake of love. But even as Maria and Bill held each other, Tom felt the heaviness of unsaid words still lingering. There was something that remained untouched, a deeper fear looming beneath the surface, poised to disrupt fragile peace. He could sense that he too had a role to play in confronting the truth. What would happen when those hidden truths emerged? Would they bring them together or drive them apart once more? As moments hung in the air, Tom felt that their journey had only just begun, with a tumult brewing just beneath the calm. The moment lingered, a delicate balance between hope and unresolved tension, and yet, a storm was brewing on the horizon. Maria pulled away, her hand still resting on her father's shoulders, searching his eyes for understanding. Now that we've taken the first step, there's more to address, Maria said carefully, the weight of everything they hadn't said scratching at the surface. It's not just about what happened with us. It's also about Tom. She gestured towards him, her heart pounding. Bill turned to Tom, brows knitted and jaw clenched, the years of hurt surfacing like angry waves. What about him? He shot back defensively. Dad, he's been here for me when you weren't. He supported me when I made my choice. Maria spoke slowly, the words measured. She needed to acknowledge Tom's role in her life, not just in front of her father, but for herself too. Choice. Is that how you think of it? You left your family. Bill's voice was a mixture of betrayal and pain, as if every word cut deeper than the last. Bill. Tom stepped in, lowering his tone but holding the steady ground of calm. Let us not make this a battle. I'm not here to take anyone's place. However, I care about Maria, and I think she deserves honesty from both of us. Maria's heart swelled at Tom's words, but she could feel the tension rise again in Bill like a thundercloud. He was battling an emotional storm, grappling with his own sense of failure and loss. I want you to respect my decisions, Dad. I thought if I could start fresh, maybe you would too, she challenged, her voice stronger now. Maybe there was a way for us both to find ourselves again. Bill's breathing grew sharp, his vulnerability cracking under pressure. You think roaming off is the answer? I didn't just lose my wife, I lost you too. I couldn't protect my family when it fell apart. Sometimes, you have to let go to build something better, Maria said softly, her gaze unwavering. It's not just about protecting, it's about understanding. Silence enveloped them once more. Tom could practically feel the weight of unspoken truths pushing down around them. Ideas swirled like leaves, tumbling through a wind that wouldn't settle. You both seem to think you can just rewrite our lives, Bill said finally, the tremor in his voice betraying a riveting mix of hope and fear. But how do we get past this? How do I fix what's broken? Maybe it starts with forgiveness, Tom suggested. Not just for each other, but for yourselves too. Bill's face tightened for a heartbeat, then relaxed. He looked away, the anguish palpable. Forgiveness feels like an impossible mountain to climb right now. Maria stepped closer again. It's a journey, Dad. Not all at once, but step by step. She believed it, maybe they could find a way. Tom moved to her side, searching Bill's face. You've got that strength, Bill. None of this is easy, but facing it together might just be the only way out of this darkness. Swallowed in vulnerability, Bill looked from Maria to Tom, his heart tumbling yet again in that vulnerable space. "I've spent so much time being angry and hurt, I didn't think about how his voice quivered. How much I still love you both." Maria's tears stung her eyes. Seeing her father's struggle, the fear melted away into something more hopeful. Each of them was hanging on the brink, caught between what was lost and what could be found. Overwhelmed by emotions yet again, Tom caught Maria's eye, and they shared a silent vow to navigate whatever labyrinth lay ahead together. But just as they seemed to inch closer to resolution, the door creaked open behind them. A figure emerged in shadow, an unexpected visitor who had the power to shake their newly crafted fragile balance. What would this unexpected person bring to their already tumultuous reunion? The door swung fully open, and the faint light spilled into the dim room, illuminating the figure stepping into their fragile circle. Maria's heart dropped. It was her mother, Laura, looking as though years had been stripped away from her in an instant. "Mom," Maria whispered, a mixture of surprise and uncertainty flooding her. Bill's expression shifted, the anger melting away, replaced with something akin to disbelief. Laura took a tentative step forward, her hands clutching the doorframe like a lifeline. I didn't know if I could come back," she admitted, her voice heavy with emotion. "Why are you here?" Bill's question was barely above a whisper, filled with years of unprocessed pain. The air thickened as their eyes locked, caught in the suffocating web of old loyalties and new realizations. "I thought it was time," Laura finally said, her voice quaking. "I've been trying to figure out where I fit in all of this, and truthfully, I've missed you both more than I can say." She scanned the room, landing her gaze on Tom, recognition dawning in her eyes. "And you? Why now?" Maria asked boldly, stepping forward. "After everything? You just show up when it gets complicated." Laura's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "I thought I was protecting us by staying away." Her hands trembled, revealing every insecurity she harbored. "I heard you both talking about forgiveness, and it made me realize that I've put my own pain above our family's healing." The weight of her mother's words hung in the air. Bill took a hesitant step toward Laura, uncertainty lacing his features. "You mean to say you've been listening? All this time?" "It's all I've done," she confessed, anguish breaking through her brave facade. "I'm scared. Scared that we've lost everything, and scared of what my return means for you both. But staying away felt like abandoning you. I needed to face my fears for you, Maria, for you too, Bill." Maria felt her heart aching at the sight of her mother there, fragile yet determined. "You had a choice to make, Mom," she said softly. "Staying away only deepened the scars." "I know," Laura admitted, her eyes glistening. "But I want to mend those scars now. Together. All of us." The tension in the room snapped at this, replaced by a swell of possibility. Bill, who had been so rigid only moments before, looked at Laura with a softness that hadn't been there in years. "What do you think, Tom?" Maria asked, turning on him. His presence had always been a stabilizing force, a kind of anchor amidst their family's chaos. Tom considered, his brow furrowed in thought. "This isn't just about family anymore," he articulated slowly. "It's about healing together or not at all. Whatever we build from now on can't be done in fragments." Laura absorbed his words, nodding as she wiped her tears. "You're right." The warmth of reconciliation drifted in like a gentle breeze, bridging the gaps formed by years of absence and regret. Maria felt a spark of hope clutch her heart. What if they could all embrace this moment? But before anyone could voice the next step, the unmistakable sound of a phone vibrating shattered the moment. Bill's phone slid across the table, lighting up with an urgent message. He picked it up. And as he read, all color drained from his face. "Who is it?" Maria asked, instinctively reaching for his arm. Bill swallowed hard, eyes widening in shock. It's from Danny. He needs to talk now." The air shifted once again, thickening with foreboding. Maria's heart raced, her mind flooded with questions. Why would Danny, her brother, the one they thought would never step back into their lives, need their attention at this moment? The looming shadows of past wounds took on a new shape, a different kind of storm on the horizon. What was Danny about to reveal, and how would it change everything they had just begun to reclaim? The world outside the window dimmed, the fading daylight matching the heaviness settling in the room. Maria's breath quickened as she watched her father's face drain of color. "Danny?" she echoed, confusion choking her words. "What does he want?" Bill stared at the message, his hands trembling as he held the phone like a fragile artifact from the past. "He says it's important, that he needs us." The silence that followed was deafening, each tick of the clock amplifying the turmoil swirling within them all. Maria felt a flood of emotions surge through her: fear, anger, longing. Danny had distanced himself from the family for so long. What could possibly be so urgent now? What does he mean by needs us? She pressed, her voice steadier than she felt. Bill shook his head, denial flickering across his features along with hope, a fragile balance. "I don't know. We've been through too much. He didn't even want to talk when I tried." "Maybe he's ready to talk now," Laura offered gently, her tone weaving a thread of tentative encouragement into the chaos. "It's worth finding out." Tom observed the unfolding scene, suddenly conscious of how deeply intertwined their fates were. "Whatever it is, we can face it together," he said, his gaze flicking between Maria and her father. "We just came through one storm. Maybe this is just another part of your journey." Maria nodded, bolstered by his presence. "Right. We've just begun rebuilding. We can't let fear pull us apart again." She felt an impulse to act, to step into the unknown. "If he needs us, we should be there." Bill's expression flickered, torn between reluctance and the weight of their shared past. "Can we really trust him?" The question floated in the air like a delicate feather caught mid-fall, filled with unspoken tension. "Trust is fragile," Tom acknowledged, "but sometimes you have to take a step forward, even when it's scary." With shared determination illuminating their eyes, Maria felt a quiet strength surround them. They would face whatever Danny brought into their lives. "Let's call him," she suggested, her heart thumping, anticipation bubbling up against the side of fear. "Let's see what he has to say." As she took a breath, they gathered their resolve together, feeling the weight of their collective histories settling beside them. Bill nodded, picking up his phone again. Confidently, he dialed Danny's number, each ring echoing in the silence like a heartbeat as they waited. The room pulsed with tension, the fear of the unknown settling like a thick mist. When Danny finally answered, his voice on the other end was shaky and uncertain. "Dad?" The sound crackled through the speaker, laden with years of hurt and longing. "Yeah, Danny, it's me," Bill said, his voice strained yet filled with apprehension. "We got your message. What is going on? Can we talk?" "Please," Danny was pleading, desperation cutting through the static. "I need to see you and Maria. All of you." Tom watched as Maria's fingers twitched with anticipation and worry. Without breaking the connection, she whispered to them, "We should meet. If he's willing, we can finally address everything that's pushed us apart." "Where do you want to meet?" Bill's voice broke through again, a mixture of obligation and a flicker of hope. "The park," Danny replied. "The place where it all went wrong. I think it's fitting." "Okay," Bill agreed hesitantly, that old familiarity creeping in. "We'll be there soon." As the connection ended, Maria could feel the air shift into a nervous energy. "What are we all feeling right now?" she asked, the gravity of the moment weighing heavily. "I'm scared," Laura admitted quietly, her hands trembling on the table. Fear echoed in them all, the worry about unresolved emotions standing like a specter beside them. Bill clenched his fists, struggling between the present and the shadows of their shared past. "This isn't going to be easy," he said, his face set. "No, but we can do it," Maria replied, leaning closer to her father. We've already faced so much together. This is our chance to decide what we want for the future. Tom watched them, heart swelling with affection for this family he had stepped into. Every journey has bumps along the road. Let us navigate through together. We're family now. With tentative resolve, they gathered their strength, each of them spinning threads of unity against uncertainty. They shared glances brimming with solidarity and stepped outside into the fading light. The park loomed closer as ominous clouds gathered overhead, but Maria felt a flicker of hope ignite within her heart. They arrived to find Danny already waiting, silhouetted in twilight. The air was thick with expectations, unspoken fears, and longing. As they approached him, Maria saw not just her brother but a piece of the puzzle they had all longed to complete. "Danny," she called softly, stepping forward, ready to face the storm. They would rewrite their family's history, each stroke and color blending together, each moment an opportunity to reconnect. "Hey." Danny's gaze was heavy yet filled with sincerity. Embracing the crossroads ahead, they took that first step into new territory, fighting together to untangle what had been broken, step by step. They were ready to weave their lives anew, to create something bold and beautiful from the chaos. But in the back of her mind, Maria held a question tightly: could love really bridge the chasms of hurt? They were about to find out together. As they stood there, the sky began to clear, revealing a hint of stars above, reflecting the hope flickering in their hearts. It was not just about forgiveness or moving on, it was about the possibilities waiting just beyond the horizon, and this time, they would embrace them as one family. It was time to rise together. You need to subscribe now to stay with us on this incredible journey. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that like button right now to feed the algorithm and keep these stories alive. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this transformation. Your voice matters. Comment below how you felt about the ending.